Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, with drug abuse and mental health being factors as to why folks in one southern Kentucky city are becoming homeless, we'll take a look at what one organization is doing to reverse the trend. Plus, former President Donald Trump and former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley trade barbs ahead of the South Carolina Republican primary.
Plus, enjoy the sunny weather because we are tracking that next rainmaker later this week. Those details on the way as Mountain News at 5:30 starts now.
Dedicated to southern and eastern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. A southern Kentucky organization is seeing a large increase in homelessness. They say drug abuse, mental health concerns, and other factors are leading to the jump in people losing their homes. A new organization is working to reverse the trend. WYMT's Phil Pendleton has more on the work they are doing from the people who are benefiting firsthand.
Volunteers and those receiving help were gathered at Somerset's Wesleyan Church Monday.
Homeless, I've been homeless for about 2 to 3 years. I was in motels and stuff, and then I couldn't afford to stay in the motels anymore. So therefore, I had to stay in my car.
Now she and about 10 others are staying at the church and receiving help from a group that is simply called Help the Homeless.
It's just overwhelming, the need here in Pulaski County, that there's just limited resources, and we are solely community supported.
We have a lot of foot traffic every day. Some days we average 60 to 70 guests in our day office. Our overnight sleep station, we keep right around 10 guests.
There are a number of different reasons why someone would be labeled as homeless. Many different circumstances that result in someone simply not having a place to call home. Sometimes it's mental illness or substance abuse. Lana Brown says the organization has been able to help her family, but primarily her son.
We still be out there in a bandit house trying to stay warm and find out where his next meal was coming.
Luster says they're finding people under overpasses, in alleys, and even in dumpsters. Things are starting to change for some.
And we're really seeing lives changed and people transition from being on the streets to in their own homes.
In Pulaski County, Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
The Help the Homeless organization has several fundraising events, including one this Wednesday night. We have more information on that and other links to ways you can help on WYMT.com. In Madison County, the Sheriff's Office is talking about efforts to get drugs off the streets. The Sheriff's Office says in the last 5 years, deputies have seized more than $2.6 million worth of drugs. That includes more than 10 pounds of heroin, 8 pounds of fentanyl, and close to 4 pounds of meth. The Sheriff's Office says the amount of fentanyl seized in the last 5 years was enough to potentially kill 2.5 million people.
After some cold weather for much of the weekend, we are tracking some really nice weather as we kick off the work week. Here's a live look from Southwest Virginia. A few more clouds over in Wise County. That current temperature also a little bit cooler, down to 46 degrees, up to 51 for Jackson, also Prestonsburg, 52 in Hazard, 54 in Harlan, also in Middlesboro. So most of us are close to or above average on this Monday, and that warming trend will continue as we go into your Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Most of us about 10 degrees warmer today compared to your Sunday, and again that warming trend is set to continue. Up on first alert, pinpoint Doppler high pressure is the big story, so we are tracking some more dry weather as we go into this evening, all thanks to a clear sky, also a calm wind. Those lows are going to be cold as you wake up on Tuesday. Most of us wake up in the middle to upper 20s and a few lower 30s as well. So you will need that jacket as you walk out the door on Tuesday, but we see some more middle to upper 50s on Tuesday. 60s are possible by Wednesday and Thursday, and yes, a few more rain chances by Thursday as well. All those details coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
Cameron, thank you. A shooting at an Indianapolis Waffle House killed at least one person and injured 5 others. Police say the shooting happened after a fight broke out between 2 groups early Monday morning. One of the victims, one woman died from her injuries at the hospital. One man remains in serious condition, while another 3 men and a woman are in stable condition. The U.S. Coast Guard is searching for 4 missing fishermen off Florida's Gulf Coast. They set out on a fishing trip from Venice, Florida Saturday morning, but did not return. Venice police say the 4 are all experienced fishermen. Police say heavy fog Saturday afternoon could have been a factor in the boat's disappearance. Multiple federal, state, and local law enforcement agencies are actively searching the Gulf of Mexico.
And the Coast Guard has sent in a lot of assets to assist us, including several different vessels, aircraft, including fixed-wing aircraft and helicopters. So we're doing everything we can to find the 4 men that are currently lost.
Multiple federal, state, and local law enforcement agencies are actively searching the Gulf of Mexico. The U.S. is investigating what happened to an unmanned Air Force drone that crashed in Yemen. U.S. military officials say the MQ-9 Reaper, which is primarily used for intelligence collection, crashed Monday. The Iran-backed Houthi forces claim to have shot it down. It comes as a crew aboard a commercial vessel in the Gulf of Aden was forced to abandon ship following a Houthi attack. A Houthi spokesperson said it was retaliation for American-British aggression in Yemen. The U.S. Army has spent hundreds of millions of dollars to support Ukraine's war effort against Russia within the last few months. Army officials are concerned that without new funding, money will need to be pulled from other critical projects to continue supporting Ukraine. Since October 2023, the Army has spent more than $430 million on various operations. They include training Ukrainian troops, transporting equipment, and U.S. troop deployments to Europe. Republicans go to the polls in South Carolina on Saturday. It's the next state in the race to lock up the GOP nomination. Former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley is South Carolina's former governor, but she's still trailing former President Donald Trump, who remains popular with his party despite legal issues. CBS's Skylar Henry has more from the White House.
Nikki Haley used the President's Day holiday to meet as many voters as possible in her own bid to become president.
We're in all these small towns, we're in the big areas, we're in the small areas, and it's touching hands, it's answering questions, and it's reminding them, one, what we did in South Carolina and the fact that we could be that successful in America.
With just 5 days to go until the South Carolina primary, Haley is trailing in the polls in her home state by double digits. She's downplaying the possibility of a win, saying instead that she wants to be competitive.
We're going to keep on doing what we're doing. We've got people excited in South Carolina. They're ready to vote. They've already started early voting. We'll see what happens on Saturday, and then on Sunday we're headed to Michigan.
Haley has been sharpening her attacks on Trump's foreign policy while the former president is focused on his various legal battles.
The judges and prosecutors that were dealing with me are essentially all the same, different wrappings, tone, manner, but always the same coordinated and overly nasty result. They are nasty.
Trump campaigned in Michigan over the weekend and took aim at the latest court ruling in New York, where he was ordered to pay more than $350 million in fines.
The case is a complete and total sham. It's a sham case.
Many Trump supporters agree.
I think some of it is politically motivated. Obviously, the timing and everything is just kind of, oh, really? You're going to do this to him now while he's running for president again?
Trump will hold a rally in Greenville, South Carolina on Tuesday night. Skylar Henry, CBS News, the White House.
Former President Trump acknowledged the death of Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny for the first time today, mentioning Navalny in a social media post before quickly transitioning to talking about his court cases. Nikki Haley responded on social media, pointing out that Trump failed to condemn Russian President Vladimir Putin. With President Biden's approval rating not great lately, there is one poll where he's getting high marks. Historians have ranked President Biden the 14th best president in American history, just ahead of Woodrow Wilson, Ronald Reagan, and Ulysses S. Grant. According to the college professors who conducted the survey, President Biden's signature accomplishment is keeping former President Trump from serving a second term in 2020. Ex-Congressman George Santos is suing late-night host Jimmy Kimmel for reportedly duping him into making an appearance on his show. Santos claims Kimmel hid his identity when asking for appearances from the celebrity video sharing service Cameo. Kimmel then used the footage to mock the former congressman on his show, encouraging him to speak on bizarre topics. According to Santos, Kimmel sent him more than a dozen cameo requests last December. Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, it's that time of the year, tax season. Tips on when to file as the deadline is less than 2 months away.
Plus, we stay calm and cold overnight. Your first alert forecast after this break.